this is Farmhouse. Sit back and enjoy a new episode of Farmhouse as we take you behind the scenes on a few of our special projects. A wine table, a barrel bar made from a bourbon barrel right here in Kentucky, and a very special tractor bar.
This is Farmhouse. We are on day one of our bourbon barrel bar. We've got a bourbon barrel from the Four Roses Distillery out of Kentucky. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut it below the second band and above the second band coming up. About an inch or so. First thing you want to do, we want to make sure that these bands are picked down to where they're supposed to be, where they were originally. And once we decide how many of these staves that we're going to take out, usually probably around about 6 or 7 of them. We don't want to destroy the look of the barrel, but we want to be able to go on the inside, and that's where the whiskeys and the bourbons will be stored at. But the thing to remember is wherever your last stave is, say it's right here, the band that you're cutting, you want to cut over it a little bit more so that you can bend that in and tack it to the side, so that when you see this opening, you see the band come and curl on the inside. So that's about the only thing that we got to remember what it is. We might even clean it up just a little bit. We don't want to ruin it, but we don't want it to look nasty either. We have a barrel laying down now. We've got about 5 of these staves marked out. That's going to give you an opening of probably about 16 inches. And a lot of people would go ahead and maybe take it one more, but I don't like doing that because you're losing too much of the curvature of your barrel. You see where we're leaving off on this side here? You can still see a little bit of the curve, and also on the other side. So we don't want to lose that. That's kind of what the whole thing's all about, is keeping the look of the barrel. But we're going to go ahead, and we got it laying down. We're going to cut these 5 out, and remember, mark your metal and cut it, over this way, past your the stave. Of course, they're going to fall out once they're cut. But when you cut this band, you want to make sure you cut it back here so you can bend that back. We've got our cut done, and all of our staves went to the inside there. I'll show you what you're going to have dealing with after you do this. You see that right there? That's the char where they burn these barrels. I mean, that's what gives them that taste. The bourbon, that taste is they burn these barrels in a really hot fire, and I mean they totally flame broil them on the inside. Well, you're gonna you want this to look nice. That all has to come out of there, and ain't but one way to do it. And after you get all your staves out, you have to get in there with a chisel, putty knife, and go to town. It's not that bad, as you can see. It's just like a fire is burn a piece of wood. I mean, pretty much is all it is. It's a bourbon barrel, but you want to get that down and get that cleaned off real good so that you can put you a clear coat or some black on it. And you'll still have a little bit of the char, but it won't be that stuff that's going to keep falling off on you. We don't want that. So that's the next step after we get these two bands cut. Now here's the part I was talking about where you want your band to be cut a little bit longer because it has to bend and continue being a band on the inside here. And you can take a grinder and cut that off afterwards because it's just easier if you make it a little longer, and then you can deal with it after you get everything bent and get it in there. Don't try to take the measurement and make it tight because it's not going to work out. Those bend in really easy. They're not that, it's pretty mild steel. But you see it's hanging down just a little bit, and that's where we want it at. Because if we get all this cleaned up in here, we can get in there and cut it where it needs to be. You don't want it short. It'll look like crap if you leave it short. Another thing, when you cut these things open, this one wasn't so bad, but I've cut into some of them, I swear. Don't even do it in the basement of your house, because if it has just been emptied, your whole house is going to smell like. And we're taking a quick second or two to show you what the inside of a bourbon barrel looks like. This one's we've got all the scraping and stuff done, and you can see there's still a little char left, but it's not the flaky kind that was on there. That's all gone now, and we got everything vacuumed out. We'll do flat coated black on the inside, make sure all the cracks and stuff are hit so that what doesn't tighten up, everything will be black, because we do light our bars up. It'll be lit on the top and the bottom. But there you are. Our black coat of paint is dry. So today we are ready to start our shelves that go through the center, and of course, unless you want to use the bottom for the bottom, put a false bottom in it or whatever, it's done. But sometimes it looks better to go ahead and put the bottom in it. This is a little difficult because nothing's square, nothing's flat, and it is concaved. So you've got a couple of things going on there when it comes to putting these shelves in. But anyway, that's where we're at, and let's get started. About the barrel. Well, we've got our shelves in on our barrel, our bar barrel. See them back in there. Got the little thing across the front, a little piece of bent wood, and we went ahead and floored the bottom because that is going to get lit up, and the bottom of the barrel originally doesn't look that good. We did one thing a little bit different. We put a little lip to bring the staves and stuff together a little bit better. And now that we're at this point, I want to try to incorporate that. And I picked it probably last summer, and it's got some pretty cool things on it, but as you can see, it's no good there on the bottom, and no good on that bottom either. But it would be cool to make a barrel thing out of it, and fix it to the back of the barrel. The barrel will still sit flat, and well, really, I'd like to make it to where the wheels could roll, but as you can see right here, it's got quite a lean to it. So we're going to have to do a little modifications on the bottom there, but I think that would look pretty cool with the handles and stuff over top of the bar here, and the wheels and everything. All the hardware and stuff's there, so this will look pretty cool. That's what I'm going to try to do. We'll see what happens. Well, we figured out what we were going to do with this thing, and the first thing that we did is we cut off these rotted pieces. I mean, that ain't gonna, you're not doing nothing with that. We don't want to lose this frame because of the way that it looks. It is the original frame, and we want to keep that. We want that to be, for lack of a better word, prominent, because of the whole effect of it being a barrel and everything. Anyway, we don't have to exactly mount everything the way that it was, being that the bolts and everything passed through here. We had these plates that guards the wheel, which we still might put those back on, aesthetically, just for that reason. But as long as this piece of wood right here is there and that little square stock is bucked up against it there, the only thing this is going to be used for is moving it from point A to point B in a room. Once you get your bar situated, and say you want to move it to clean out it or something like that, I don't know. But it's not going to haul 100 loads like it did before. Long as it looks good and it's up against the barrel, which is another thing, it was designed to lean back. So we don't want that now. We want this thing to sit straight, like that. As straight as possible, up against the barrel, and we'll make some grommets or whatever to fill these areas here and get that bolted in to where it's solid. What we want is the wheels to be there, like that. Not necessarily there because that's the opening, it'd be on the back side, but we want it to be straight up and down. And when you're looking at the bar from the front, you'll see the handle sticking up a little bit, and that's kind of a low profile where we've cut it off, so that'll even make it look that much better. I like it. Well, now we've got our barrel bar completed, and as you can see, the little two-wheeler that we did, the little dolly on the back, goes with it very well. It's a good vintage dolly, and we made it fit the barrel and snug it around with the little pieces that we put in. But there it is. That's the finished thing, and I'll show you the inside a little bit. We got the barnwood shelving, and we also got the barnwood bottom because I really don't like the way that the barrel looks on the inside. I mean, when you're doing that, you might as well, you have to make a match. And everything lights up with a puck light on each part because, you know, it would get blocked out otherwise. And this was an older barrel, and we wanted to put a piece of wood on the bottom to keep the staves and things intact good and make them nice and tight. There you go. There is our barrel bar, that version of it anyway. And there's Mr. Preston Tucker over there. There it is. And we are getting ready today to start mocking up for our new design on our table that we're going to do. Now these are the boards, our barn boards, our barnwood that we're going to use for the main frame and the legs. And what we're going to do is use the wider ones for the legs, and that will make it able to incorporate wine bottles for storage. And then we are going to incorporate this little guy. We're going to put him in there as part of the design, and it will be hydrogen lit. Give you a little peek at what we're doing, and I'll see you in a little bit after we get these legs and stuff cut out. This is Farmhouse, and we're giving you an update on where we are at on our wine/coffee table. We got everything bolted in, a series of just a bunch of boxes pretty much. We box in the top with our barnwood, and we come straight down with our barnwood. And what we do in this area here is this is going to be the place where the wine bottles will go in, and they'll sit 3 in here, and they will also sit 3 in here in the legs. Now what we want to do here to keep everything in is we'll put a wooden slat on this area, and that will hold the barnwood or the bottles in. It'll also be a mounting point for this wheel right here, and keep that where it needs to be. As you see, it can pivot up and down as to where we want to put it, and we'll downlight it from the top so that our piece of metal has a nice illumination on it, and it complements the barnwood that we're using. So that's where we're at. That's what we're doing. Give you a little look at everything. And this is really going to look nice. I can't wait to get it off of this table. It's going to look a lot better once it's on the ground, for sure. See you in a bit. Coffee table. As you can see, we permanently mounted the two-wheeled hand plow up underneath. Everything is lit by hydrogen light. It's switchable from the side over here. And inside of the legs, if that's what you choose to use it for, stores your wine bottles. This table will store up to 6 bottles. Made from 120-year-old barn wood. Everything is dowed in place. It is not going anywhere. But there you go. There's the finished version. This is Farmhouse. We're on day 1 of our IH project. And what we're going to try to do here is, first of all, we've got to get these 2 pieces cleaned up. But this is going to be a table. And after the frame and stuff is built, what we're going to try to do is incorporate a slide-in bench on one side. It could be slid in either direction, and of course it'll have the reclaimed wood top and stuff to match it. But the first thing we got to do is get this cleaned up, get these 2 pieces and stuff tack welded together, and it's going to be sort of a Frankenstein thing. We're not going to put a lot of work into the body or nothing like that, other than cleaning up the rust and stuff. And then we're going to give it a clear coat. Hey, Tucker. And then we got to build a frame. And the reason we have to do all the framing and stuff is because on a regular tractor, all this stuff is usually built into pieces of the engine, pieces of radiators, and all kinds of different things that holds all these things together. We don't have that now, so we have to build a frame in order to do that. And this is where we're at. Let's begin. Okay, now here we are. We've got all of the rusted stuff, the loose stuff is gone now, and we polished it up a little bit with the wire wheel. And something else I wanted to show you, the 1511. That is the auction number, the lot number that this tractor was sold. So, you know, it's part of the history of this, and since we are doing a raw version of the IH, we're going to leave that on there, and we're going to clear coat it in with the rest of the body, because it is part of the history of this tractor. So, and this is a Model M bigger, and what we're going to do with this thing is, I mean, it's a lot longer and a lot wider, which makes stability better, so that it might be able to support a bench, but the bench will be built into the bar. Hey, buddy. And we've got everything spot welded together using an 1.25 inch tubing, I think. And we're getting ready to set the body over top of it, and for the first time, to see if everything works. Now we've got our body and stuff sitting on there. We got all of our tack welds and stuff done where they need to be. We'll do a little grinding on it and smooth some things out. Maybe put a few more tacks on it. But everything fit pretty good the way it was supposed to. And we'll be putting our axles and stuff in there and our wheels. And then we'll go from there. Well, today is fabricating the axles, and we are going to use this stuff. This is about, I'm going to guess and say around about 3/4 big bolt. And what we do is we cut this nut off, and we slide it up in this, we slide it up in the square stock here. We leave it sticking out, and that makes the flat surface right there, makes the area for a rim to ride on. It goes right through that little hole right there. And then we lock everything down once we get it where we want it with these Carter pins. And I'll take you out here and show you one of the rims, which are a little more light. It's not really too good in the barn there. And these are the tires that we're going to be using. These are really a rear wheel to a ride lawnmower. And what we have to do, you see how that keyway is got 2 flat spots on it? Well, that can't be that way, so we got to get all that out of there. and make this completely round, and we do that with a file. But that's pretty much what is on the agenda for the day, and get them on our tractor bar.